I want you to be completely honest with yourself right now. Do you carry this heavy, terrifying vision of what your life is supposed to be? But when you look at your actual reality, you just feel completely paralyzed? You watch other people living these simple, normal, happy lives, and you sit there wondering, what is wrong with me? Why is it so hard for me? Am I just fundamentally broken? It feels like you are standing on the edge of a massive canyon. On the other side, you see a glorious golden city that you know, deep in your soul, you are supposed to build. But then you look down at your hands, and the universe has only given you a rusted spoon. So you shut down. You get exhausted. You call yourself lazy. You isolate yourself because nobody understands the sheer, crushing weight of the potential inside your chest. Look at me. I need you to listen to me very carefully. You are not lazy, and you are absolutely not broken. If you resonate with this pain, you are likely carrying the rarest, most demanding frequency in the entire universe. Master number 22. The Master Builder. Here is my personal truth after studying this code. You are not falling apart. You are excavating. You cannot build a 100-story skyscraper on a shallow foundation. The universe has forced you into the dirt, breaking your ego, breaking your illusions, because you are digging the bedrock for an empire. That deep, dark hole you feel stuck in, that is your foundation. In today's incredibly profound podcast episode, we are going to tear apart the psychology of Life Path 22. We will talk about the Cassandra curse, the exhaustion of being a human sponge, and how to finally take that rusted spoon and start building your destiny.
Imagine you are standing at the edge of this massive, sweeping canyon.
Okay.
The wind is howling, and across this impossible gap way on the other side is a golden city.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's this brilliant utopian structure, and the crazy part is you know exactly how to build it. You can see every spire, every brick, every window.
The schematics are just burned into your brain.
Exactly, but then you look down at your hands, and all you are holding is a rusted spoon.
Oh, man. That's a visceral image.
Right. You arrived on this earth with the blueprints of a god, but you were given the tools of a mortal. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring a profound, almost mythic concept in numerology. It's known as Life Path 22.
The Master Builder.
The Master Builder, yeah. And if you carry this blueprint, or, if you love someone who does, you already know this isn't just a simple list of personality traits.
Not at all.
It's a dramatic human story, because having immense world-changing potential, most of the time, it really doesn't feel like a gift. So, can you set the stage for us? Why does this specific path create such an agonizing gap between where a person is and where they know they should be?
Well, because it feels like an incredibly heavy burden. I mean, to carry the 22 energy is to carry a blueprint that often breaks the spine of the soul before it ever allows a person to stand tall.
Whoa, wait. Breaks the spine of the soul. That sounds incredibly dark for something called a master number.
I know, it sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah. Shouldn't a master blueprint make life easier, not harder? Like, if you are born to be a master builder, shouldn't you just naturally build things?
You would think so.
Yeah.
But that is the great paradox of this path. The 22 energy gives a person the sprawling, magnificent vision of an emperor, but it pairs that vision with the resources and often the terrifying paralysis of a pauper.
Oh, so that canyon metaphor.
Exactly. That captures the agonizing existential crisis perfectly. If we don't deeply explore the mechanics behind this, what I like to call the mathematics of the soul, you might go your entire life believing that your anxiety or, your inability to launch is a sign of fundamental weakness.
Right.
But it's not. It is actually a symptom of massive unused power.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because this paralysis, this feeling of being entirely stuck, doesn't just happen randomly, right?
But not at all.
It comes from a literal mathematical contradiction living inside the person, like an internal civil war.
Precisely. To understand the Master Builder, we have to break down the mechanics of the numbers themselves. So in this system, you generally reduce double-digit numbers down to a single digit to find the core energy.
Right, so 2 plus 2.
Right, 2 plus 2 equals 4. So the core energy of a 22 is a 4.
Okay.
Now, the number 4 represents Earth. The 4 is the grounded pragmatist. It craves security, routine, paid rent, strong walls, highly predictable outcomes.
It wants to be safe.
Exactly. The 4 desperately wants to be safe inside a sturdy logical box.
Wait, hold on. If 2 plus 2 is 4, why do we even call them 22s? Why aren't they just 4s? I mean, 13 reduces to 4, 31 reduces to 4.
That's a great point.
What makes 22 so special that we don't reduce it in the name?
That is a brilliant distinction.
Huh.
We don't reduce it because 22 is a master number alongside 11 and 33.
Okay, master number.
Yeah, a master number means you are carrying the base frequency, in this case the 4. But it is dialed up to a much higher, far more dangerous voltage. Because look at what that 4 is built out of.
Double 2s.
Yes. And in this blueprint, the number 2 represents water.
Oh, interesting.
It is deep, feminine intuition, fluid emotion, extreme sensitivity, and diplomacy.
So let me make sure I'm picturing this right. You have the highly sensitive, emotional, fluid water of the 2.
Right.
And you are locking it inside the rigid, structured, earthbound energy of the 4.
Exactly.
Mix water and earth, and you get mud.
You get mud. Exactly. And that is exactly how a young master builder often feels. Trapped.
Yeah.
Stuck in the mud of their own conflicting nature.
Wow.
Let's look at the numbers directly around it. The 11 is the master intuitive. The 11 lives entirely in the clouds, receiving brilliant, ethereal, spiritual insights.
Like the dreamer.
Right. And the base 4 lies entirely on the ground, happily swinging a hammer. The 22 is the brutal bridge between them.
The bridge.
Yeah, they receive these lightning-fast spiritual downloads from the clouds, just like the 11, but they have a crushing, almost suffocating obligation to drag those downloads into physical reality, like the 4.
So they can't just casually daydream like the rest of us.
Not at all.
When other numbers dream, they might, I don't know, create art or go backpack across Europe to find themselves.
Sure.
But when a 22 dreams, their soul absolutely demands that they build a complex system. Like, they look at a broken healthcare system and they don't just see the tragedy of it.
Right, they see the fix.
They see a fully integrated, functional, global solution. But because they have that earthbound 4 energy, they are simultaneously terrified of the risk.
Exactly.
They possess the sweeping vision of a visionary CEO, but they are saddled with the terrified risk tolerance of a conservative accountant.
That friction is exhausting. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine holding a tectonic plate shift inside your own ribcage. You want to change the world, but you are terrified of losing your savings account.
That sounds paralyzing.
It is. And what's crucial to understand is that this internal civil war doesn't just spontaneously appear in adulthood. The roots of this paralysis trace all the way back to an incredibly alienating childhood.
Let's explore that origin story, because the childhood portrait of a 22 is just fascinating. They usually aren't these grandiose, confident kids leading the playground, building forts.
No, they're not.
They are the strange child, the kid who seemed old before they were even young.
They're old souls thrust into a very chaotic environment. Remember that double 2 energy?
The water, the sensitivity.
Exactly. That represents extreme absorbent sensitivity. As a child, a 22 feels and absorbs all the messy, unspoken emotional chaos of the adults around them.
Oh, wow.
The arguments, the stress, the hidden grief. The child acts as a sponge. That is fundamentally terrifying for a young nervous system.
So they're just absorbing everyone else's baggage.
Yes. So what does their internal 4 energy do to cope? It tries to enforce rigid control over the physical environment to manufacture a sense of safety.
So this is the kid lining up their toy cars in absolutely perfect millimeter-precise rows.
Yes.
Or like having an absolute meltdown if the dinner schedule changes at the last minute.
That's the one. And people often mistake that behavior for childhood OCD or just being stubborn.
But it's not.
It isn't. It is a tiny master builder, desperately trying to construct a sliver of structural order out of a chaotic world.
That makes so much sense.
But this alienation gets exponentially worse when they enter the traditional school system.
Oh, I can imagine.
Standard education is deeply linear. It teaches step A, then step B, then step C.
But the 22 mind doesn't work like that at all. It's holographic.
Yes, a holographic mind. And this is vital to understand.
So what does that actually look like in a classroom? How does a kid experience a holographic mind when everyone else is, thinking in straight lines?
Think about a complex math problem on the blackboard. The teacher asks the question, and the 22 child looks at it and immediately, intuitively sees the answer. Step Z.
They just see it.
The fully finished concept just appears in their mind's eye like a glowing 3D object. But when the teacher walks over with a red pen and says, "Show your work,"
Oh, no.
the child completely freezes. They cannot explain steps B through Y because they didn't use them. They just knew the answer.
Wow.
And because they can't show their work in a linear fashion, they are often penalized, accused of cheating, or told they aren't paying attention.
That is so damaging.
It creates a deep, lasting wound. They start to believe they are slow, or stupid, or fundamentally broken.
So what does this all mean? The tragic irony here is almost painful. Society looks at this highly gifted child and says, "Stop dreaming so big, get your head out of the clouds."
Right.
And in the exact same breath, society says, "Stop being so rigid and controlling, just relax and go with the flow."
Exactly.
They are actively, repeatedly criticized for the exact two tools, grand vision and structural order, that they were literally born to use.
Which leads directly to what we can call sleeping giant syndrome.
Sleeping giant syndrome.
The child quickly learns that their natural state makes authority figures highly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So what do? They hide the blueprints.
They pack them away.
They build a very small, very safe, unremarkable life just to blend in and survive. They put themselves to sleep.
But, you can't keep a giant in a shoebox forever. Eventually that giant wakes up, and usually it happens in their 20s or 30s.
Yes, that's the turning point.
The small, safe house they built starts to suffocate them, and they are plunged into what the esoteric lore calls the zone of terror.
The zone of terror is arguably the darkest, most agonizing corridor of the master builder's psyche.
It sounds awful.
This is the period where the gap between their hidden potential and their current mundane reality becomes unbearable. They look around and see people with half their vision and a fraction of their talent succeeding and being perfectly happy with mediocrity.
And they're just stuck.
Meanwhile, the 22 is deeply miserable with their unused potential.
If you're listening to this right now and thinking, well, that just sounds like someone making an excuse for being lazy and procrastinating, you aren't alone.
Right, that's the common assumption.
That is exactly how society views a 22 in the zone of terror. But this isn't just standard laziness, is it? It's tied to this massive all-or-nothing fallacy.
What's fascinating here is the sheer psychology behind that hesitation. It is not laziness at all. It is a highly sophisticated subconscious defense mechanism. Think about the scale of their vision. We're talking global peace, a revolutionary economic paradigm, a cultural masterpiece. Because the vision is so massive, the very first logical baby step feels insultingly small.
Oh, I see.
They despise the idea of starting a small blog or taking an entry-level job because it insults the majesty of the cathedral they see in their head.
It's beneath the blueprint.
Exactly. Furthermore, if you never lay that first brick, your dream stays pristine. It stays absolutely perfect in your mind.
Safe from the world.
But the moment you actually start building in the physical world, it might rain, the cement might crack, someone might criticize your work, and that rigid number 4 energy absolutely hates being criticized.
So let me make sure I'm picturing this right. It's literally like trying to run a nuclear power plant through the wiring of a toaster.
That is the perfect analogy.
If you don't plug that high voltage energy into something capable of holding it, the energy doesn't just vanish. It fries the machine. It turns inward.
It turns inward, and it destroys the host. Unused 22 energy manifests as a very specific, heavy, structural depression.
Structural depression.
It isn't just sadness. It is the feeling of being buried alive in the concrete foundation of the very building you refuse to construct. The universe doesn't give a soul that much architectural power just so they can pay a mortgage, buy groceries, and watch television.
Right.
It demands to be used for the collective.
If the unused voltage is frying them, what happens when they actually pick up the trowel? Like, let's say they finally break out of the zone of terror. What does it actually look like when the master builder starts building the cathedral? Because they aren't just dreamers escaping reality.
No, a dreamer escapes reality. A 22 reconstructs it from the ground up. They are the ultimate intersection of the mystic and the mechanic.
Mystic meets mechanic. I like that.
They possess this uncanny ability to see the skeletal structure of existence itself. If we use the cathedral analogy, the number 11 is the beautiful, ethereal light streaming through the stained glass. The number 4 is the solid stone pillars holding up the roof. But the 22 is the entire cathedral.
They design the whole thing.
They create the massive container where spirit can safely meet matter. They aren't here to run a localized lemonade stand. They are here to design the city's entire water distribution system.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Building the city's water system requires resources.
It certainly does.
And there is such a massive stigma around wealth in spiritual communities. People often view money as dirty or unspiritual. But for the 22, poverty isn't some noble ascetic badge of honor. It's a dysfunction.
Absolutely.
It's a broken grounding wire.
This raises an important question. What happens when a massive spiritual calling requires material resources? The 22 is the most material of all the spiritual numbers.
Right, because of that 4 energy.
Exactly. You simply cannot build a hospital on good vibes and meditation alone. You need bricks, you need mortar, you need skilled labor, and in this dimension, that requires capital. Yes, they are designed to generate wealth, not so they can hoard it for personal luxury, but because money is the literal currency of creation. It buys influence, infrastructure, and change.
So they shouldn't feel guilty about it.
Not at all. When a 22 asks for money just to soothe their own ego, the universe shuts the door in their face. But when they ask for capital to serve the collective, the universe writes the check.
But wait, if they're so intellectually powerful and so spiritually tethered, why do we constantly see master builders struggling with severe physical breakdowns?
It's so common.
They are notorious for adrenal fatigue, extreme lower back problems, immune crashes. Why can't they just, meditate their way out of a crisis?
Because of how deeply, inextricably tethered they are to the physical plane. They don't just sense stress emotionally, they metabolize it physically.
Oh, wow.
If a 22 works in a toxic corporate environment or lives in a chaotic home, they literally absorb and store the structural flaws of that environment in their own muscles, joints, and nervous system.
That explains the back problems.
Exactly. The lower back, which is the structural support system of the human body, often gives out because they're energetically carrying the weight of the world.
So sitting on a meditation cushion chanting a mantra is never going to be enough for them.
Never. They have to actively discharge that immense electrical static through heavy, dense earth activities.
Like what?
We're talking woodworking, weightlifting, intense gardening, carpentry, sculpting. They have to physically move that trapped energy into matter.
Get their hands dirty.
Yes. The paradox of the 22 is that they are incredibly strong, but they often act like cast iron.
Cast iron.
Cast iron can hold immense weight, but if you strike it at the wrong angle, it shatters completely because it's brittle. A 22 has to learn the vital lesson of the number 2. Flexibility.
They have to bend.
They must learn to temper themselves into steel. Steel bends under extreme pressure. It doesn't break.
That rigidity, that cast iron nature that has to bleed over into their personal lives, right?
Absolutely.
If this person is acting like a rigid cast iron pillar at work, carrying all this metabolic stress, they must be exhausting to date. Let's talk about the lonely architect. What happens when they bring that heavy, I have to hold up the world energy home?
It is a profound karmic hurdle for them because a 22 naturally projects this aura of immense stability and superhuman competence. Who do you think they naturally attract in the dating pool?
Chaotic people.
Right.
Broken people who are looking for a savior or a parent.
Precisely. People who want to use the 22 as a solid rock to build their own messy house on. And at first, the 22 is deeply flattered by this.
They like being needed.
They like fixing things, they enjoy providing structure, but very quickly they wake up and realize they aren't in a romantic partnership at all. They have become a parent.
Wow, carrying the load for 2.
Carrying the emotional, financial, and structural load for 2 adult people, and frankly, the 22 is already married.
To the mission.
They are married to the mission. The work is their primary relationship. If a partner makes a 22 choose between the relationship and the vision will win every time. Or the 22 will slowly rot from the inside out, trying to compromise.
What they desperately need is a co-architect. Someone who brings the gentle softness and emotional intelligence of the number 2, but possesses the solid, unwavering reliability of the number 4.
Exactly.
But finding that requires the 22 to do the one thing they are absolutely terrified of doing, being vulnerable.
Which is so hard for them.
They are so incredibly used to holding up the roof for everyone else, they are terrified that if they let someone else hold it, even for a second, the whole structure will collapse and crush them.
That's the fear.
True love for a master builder is finally finding a place where they can put down the blueprint and just be a human being for a minute.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, to the esoteric roots of this blueprint, there is a profound karmic reason for all this heavy lifting.
Okay, let's hear it.
The ancient lore suggests that 22s are returning souls. In past incarnations, they either possessed great power and misused it for selfish gain, or they were given the opportunity to build something magnificent and they refused out of fear.
Oh, so this is round 2.
Round 2, with a strict, uncompromising mandate. You must get it right this time. You must spiritualize matter. You must bring absolute ethics into business or deep compassion into politics. You cannot sit on the sidelines.
Which perfectly explains why the universe is so insanely tough on them. It ties directly into this concept of burning the ships.
Yes.
The universe simply refuses to let the 22 settle for mediocrity. It will actively destroy their safe, comfortable plan B. You see it all the time with these folks. Sudden, unexplainable job losses, bizarre health crises, relationships ending out of nowhere just as they were getting comfortable.
It happens so often.
It feels like a brutal punishment, but it's actually the universe forcing their hand, destroying the escape route so they have literally no choice but to step forward into their greatness. Because the truth is, the 22 will never actually feel ready.
They won't. The earthly 4 energy will always demand one more degree, one more certification, one more financial safety net before they begin.
Right.
But the karmic demand of the soul is that they must leap before they are ready.
So how does the master builder actually execute this impossible dream? How do they survive the crushing gap between the golden city in their head and the rusted spoon in their hand? It seems to come down to what we can call the micro-macro oscillation.
That is the ultimate secret to their survival. The micro-macro oscillation means keeping your head in the grand sweeping vision of the 22, the macro, but keeping your physical hands deeply embedded in the dirty, mundane work of the 4, the micro.
You can't build the whole city today.
That is impossible. But you can lay one single brick. The difference is you aren't just laying a brick to build a meaningless wall. You are laying that single brick with the absolute unshakable conviction that is the foundation of a cathedral.
And it takes time. That's something we have to emphasize. Master builders are notoriously late bloomers.
They really are.
Think of someone like Colonel Sanders, who didn't franchise KFC until he was like 62 years old.
Great example.
So if you are listening to this and you have this blueprint and you are in your 30s or 40s feeling like a total failure because you haven't saved the world yet, take a breath.
Seriously, take a breath.
Those agonizing early years, the failures, the drifting, the false starts, that is just the excavation phase.
Yeah.
You have to dig a remarkably deep, dark hole into the earth to safely support the foundation of a massive skyscraper.
You do. The deeper the hole, the taller the structure can safely rise. When you realize that failure is just excavation, it changes how you look at everything.
It really does.
Not just your own life, but the whole world. Look at what's happening globally right now.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
If you look at the world today, it is visibly crumbling. Our political systems, our economic models, our ecology, the old structures are shaking, fracturing, and failing right in front of our eyes.
It's terrifying for a lot of people.
Most people are terrified. But what if this global breakdown is not a tragedy? What if it is a massive, universe-orchestrated clearing phase, a deliberate demolition specifically designed to force all the sleeping 22s out of their comfortable plan Bs so they can finally wake up, step forward, and pour the foundation for an entirely new world?
That gives me chills. The world isn't ending. The site is just being cleared for construction. And it brings us right back to where we started. Standing at the edge of that canyon, looking at the golden city, holding nothing but a rusted spoon.
Yo.
The existential crisis fades when you finally realize that the rusted spoon isn't a joke and it isn't a curse. It's just your first tool. It's time to start digging.
It is time to unfold the blueprint.
Thank you for joining us on this incredibly profound deep dive. Keep looking at the blueprints, keep laying the bricks, and we will see you next time.